everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be doing a builder base. This is by Zurno. I don't know how to pronounce it. Zurno. And this is the Sweet Dreams collection builder base, and this is raspberry macarons number 06. So this is a soakable gel. I had it on my nails previously, so we're just going to do an infill using this builder gel. Is a great color. One can apply color on top of it if you want. So I have started prepping my nails, just getting the bulk down, and we're just pushing back our cuticle area. And I gave it a buff already with my e-file, but I'm just giving it another push with the cuticle stick. The cuticles are so vital for a good application. So this builder, you could apply a rubber base coat if you wanted to underneath. What I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to cleanse this now with my isopropyl alcohol. So I've debulked the nail and we've done our cuticle work, and I am going to apply a primer. First let's do a pH bond. And we're just going to do that around the cuticle area. Let's do the thumb. I love these colored nude builders. You know, one gets tired of color all the time. So I find that the colored builders, you don't have to think about what color to use, and if you wanted to, you could apply a color on top of it. Okay, so the first step that I'm going to do, I just want to get my lamp ready. So I normally cure at 60 seconds. I'm going to take our builder and I'm going to apply a thin layer over the whole nail. I'm going to pick up another bit of a bead and I'm going to put it at the cuticle area, and I'm just going to pillow that up. And I will take the excess over the whole nail. And you can clean up around as you go. I just want to do another bead. I want to try and get it closer to the cuticle area as possible. I could use my little stripy brush. We will do that shortly. I'm going to take my stripy brush and if you wanted to add a little bit more, you can put some product on your stripy brush. Let's try and even go closer. So this product is self-leveling, which is great. Just want a bit more of this product so we've got even color consistency, and I just don't want it to be too bulky. Let that self-level. I just want that to self-level a bit. I just feel it needs a bit more color there, so I'm going to add a bead there just to get the consistency of the color. And as you can see, it self-levels beautifully. I'm going to turn it upside down for a second. And when I work on myself, I tend to try and work with one finger at a time. So that's what we're going to do. Let's have a look. There we go. And I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds. Sorry, my whole thing is falling apart. Let me just pause this while we cure. Right, so I'm back. That has been cured. And I'm going to immediately put my top coat on. What I do is, as I said, I do one finger at a time. And I will shape and buff with the top coat and then add a last top coat to it. Just it acts as almost like encapsulates the color, so that when I do a little bit of a refinement, as you can see, and we are going to cure that. Right, so why I like to do one nail at a time is, now this one is, because I used a non-wipe top coat, this one is not sticky anymore and I can carry on using my fingers. Anything that's sort of stuck on the sides we're going to finish off in the end. So let's move on to the index finger. So I'm picking up a bead and I'm putting one layer over the whole nail, which acts as my slip layer and also gives me more color. I suppose one could just paint on if one wanted to, but we want to try and get our little apex back. So now I'm putting another little bead and we will sort of pillow it up to the cuticle area like this. And then I'm going to brush very lightly the remainder of the product down the whole nail. I'm then going to take my stripey brush and I'm going to add a little bit of product to my stripey brush, and we're just going to fill in as close as we can get to the cuticle area. Just feel I need a little bit more here. And just for safety measures, clean up your cuticle area like that. And I'm going to cure that one in the UV lamp for 60 seconds. So now I'm going to apply the top coat, and then that nail is free of me bumping it or anything. I just find doing one nail at a time just so much easier. And we have the top coat, and I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds. Right, so we've got our top coat on there. Now we're going to do the next one. So you see I'm freeing up my hands to work on my left hand, and I just find this much easier than doing the whole lot in one go. So again, kind of beveling it up to the cuticle, painting my slip layer over the whole nail. Oops. Right, and now I'm going to pick up a smaller bead. And we're going to just go as close as we can to the cuticle. Kind of hold it there for a minute. And I sort of wiggle it from side to side. And then simply brush the balance with a very light stroke down the whole nail. Right, then we're going to take our stripey brush, and I'm putting a bit of product on, and we're going to try and get as close as we can to the cuticle area. And then just for safe measures, we're just going to clean up around like that. And I'm going to cure that in the lamp for 60 seconds. Right, so now I'm going to apply the top coat on the middle finger. I mean, I could probably just get away with just doing this, but I tend to want to make sure that it's all completely smooth. So I will show you the last method. So now you can see I'm freeing up my hand as I'm working, which is a good thing to do, especially if you're going to be working on your left hand as well. So I'm going to just cure that. Right, so that came out of the lamp, non-tacky. Now we're going to do our ring finger. I'm going to pick up a bead, and we're going to repeat the same thing. Just painting our slip layer over the entire nail. And now we are going to do the little backfill. So I'm picking up a bigger bead and we're pillowing it up to that cuticle area. And then I am just brushing the excess over the whole nail. Right, our famous stripy brush. Let's put some gel on there. And we are going to try and go, I'm just going to pull back the skin on the sides while we take that down the side, and then around the cuticle area. Safety measures, we're just going to clean up around, and I'm going to put that in the UV lamp. Right, so now we are going to put our top coat on that nail. So that we don't have any sticky residue while we're working. And we're still going to be refining it. Okay, and that I'm going to cure again for 60 seconds. Right, so that's come out of the UV lamp. So now I've got nearly my whole hand free of any tacky layers or anything. So now we are going to do the pinky, and then we'll move on to the next hand, my less dominant hand. So I freed up this hand, basically. So you see, it's not necessary to remove all the product every single time. It's also not healthy to have to remove the product all the time. better to just, if you are using a color like a nude, to infill with that same nude. If one wants to put color on, you can. So I'm just making sure that our cuticle line is straight, and I'm just brushing the balance of the product over the whole nail. Then we are going to take our famous stripy brush and we are just going to neaten the cuticle area and get it as close as we can to that proximal fold. Pinkies are always a little bit difficult when you've got to do it on camera, but we will hope you can see. Yeah. So I'm just making sure. I just want a little bit more here. So I'm a firm believer in not removing all the time. It's like giving your nails a break without letting them have to air dry, because you literally not removing all the time. So your nails can recover. Wait a moment. I see as I did that, that made a little. Okay, let's just make sure this is all covered in. So I'm just feathering the gel. Let's make sure our cuticles are free, and we're going to cure that for 60 seconds. Right, so that has been cured. So again, we are just going to put our non-wipe top coat, and we've literally freed our hand, our right hand, to work on the left hand. So I'm just putting that top coat on, and then in the end I will just refine it, just so that you can see the difference of the two nails so far. So I'm going to cure that, and then we're going to work on the left hand, and to know that I am a right-handed person, so I'll show you how I work with my left hand. So we're going to cure this pinky. Right, so that hand has been filled. Intercom. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so now we are going to be working on my left hand using my right hand. So I'm not as accurate as I am with the right hand, obviously, but this is how I do it. So I'm just going to bevel that up to the cuticle area. Like that. And we are going to just wipe it down. This is my slip layer. So I'm just supporting my left hand with my index finger, as you can see. Okay, so we have done one layer down the whole nail. Now we're going to do the little backfill. So I'm picking up a little bead and I'm going to push that as close as I can get. One needs steady hands for this, guys. And then I'm just going to brush the remainder down the whole nail. So just feather it, light movements. Okay, we're going to take the stripy brush and this is the tricky part. I have to try and get it at an angle. I want a little bit more product. Right, safety measures. We're going to just go around the cuticle area just to make sure that we've got nothing. And we're going to cure that in the UV lamp for 60 seconds. So not too difficult. Right, so now we're going to do our top coat on the thumb. So now the thumb is freed up. The most important thing is obviously you need to debulk the nail as well in between. And there we have our top coat. And I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds. Right, so on with my less dominant hand. So now we've got this thumb free. Now we are going to repeat the same process with the index finger using my less dominant hand. So I'm just going to pillow that up to the cuticle and brush it down. As you can see, we just got a little bit of a overflow here. Okay, and now I'm going to take a smaller bead, or a smaller amount of gel I should say, and we're going to just pillow that at the cuticle area and brush the balance over the whole nail. Right, and then I'm taking the stripy brush. Let's get some more on the actual tip itself. Let's just wipe this a little bit more. It's amazing, if you're right-handed, the brush shakes a little bit more than the other hand. Right, safety measures, let's just clean her up. What you can do as well is if you're worried about the tip bulking too much, you can just give it a slide along the free edge to prevent it from bulking even more. So now I'm going to cure that in the UV lamp for 60 seconds. Right, so I have just cured that. We're going to put our top coat on. I know it takes a bit more time doing one finger at a time, but often when you're doing your own nails in a salon in between clients, and let's say a client arrives early, this way at least you've got free fingers to actually work on the actual client as well, just in case. So this is my preferred method of doing my nails, is just doing one at a time, freeing up the rest of my fingers as I go along, just in case. Alright, so I'm going to cure that one. We're nearly done, and then I'm going to show you how I refine it. Right, so I'm back. That has been done. Now we are going to move on to the middle finger. Again, I'm just going to take a bead, sort of bevel it up to the cuticle area. And then just brush the remainder of the product down the whole nail. Okay, now let's get our bead. I keep saying bead, you can see I was an ex-acrylic girl. Okay, now we're going to put a bead up to the cuticle area. And then I'm just going to wipe the balance over the free edge very lightly, just remove any excess. Let's clean up. You can see we got some there. Now we're going to use our stripy brush. I could never work without the stripy brush, I must tell you guys. Okay, so this is a little bit more difficult. But the beauty of it is that you don't need to what was I going to say? Oh, with the stripy brush. Okay, now we got to get in on this little side here, which is a bit difficult. So I'm just balancing it on the table. if you find that it's a bit bumpy, you can just run your stripey brush down the side. It will sort of self-level by itself. And then I'm going to just wipe it on the edge. I actually feel because of the color, I don't know if you can see it in camera, but there's a bit of a color, it's not the same color density that I want all over, so I'm just going to actually just do a third layer. So I'm just wiping the sides, and I can see, so the other hand is more tricky. The right is much easier. I just want to get the product sort of evenly leveled out. And then there's less filing to do. Let's just get a little bit more. And the beauty is that you can add as you need. So I just wanted to add a little bit here. I'm going to turn that finger upside down just to help me a little bit, because, as I say, working with your non-dominant hand is not that easy. So now I'm just looking at my side apex. Okay, and I can see that we've got more product on the free edge, which I don't want. So I'm going to just wipe it down. To get the product more back into the apex area. Right. And when you're happy with that, you can then cure it for 60 seconds. I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds. Right, so now we're going to put the top coat on that one. And just clean up around. If you get into these habits, it's always a good thing to do. Less work down the line. So now I'm going to cure that again for 60 seconds. We're nearly at the good part. Right, so now we've got to do the ring and the pinky. So now again, I'm just picking up an amount of gel, and I'm going to bevel that to the cuticle area from side to side, and then brush the remainder over the whole nail. But like I am sort of feathering it. I'm not putting pressure on the actual product itself. Now I will pick up another bead, and this time we are going to go even closer to the cuticle area, just pillowing it up towards the cuticle area, and then I'm going to brush, or can I say float, the remainder of the product over the whole nail. Then we have to use our stripy brush, and let's just put a bit of product on there, and let's just get it as close as we can to the cuticle line. Let's try and get it a little bit closer. Not so easy. Right, and then we need to clean up. Oopsie. You got to be careful of that. That's what happens when you work with your non-dominant hand, hey? So now let's just clean up. And I'm just going to run along my fingers along the sides. And we're going to cure that for 60 seconds. Right, so that's done. So now all of these are free from any tackiness. We've got the last little pinky to do. So again, we are going to apply our slip layer. And then we're going to pick up a smaller bead. And I'm going to pillow that up towards the cuticle area. And we're going to just feather the balance of the builder gel. And then we're going to use our stripy brush and this side, if you can see. Just try and get that bigger blob there. Okay, this is the tricky part. Now we have to try and get it closer to the cuticle. I want to get more product on the tip. Let's see if you can see it like this. Oops. Let's clean her up. And I'm just going to run my fingers along that line so that we don't change the shape. And we're going to cure that for 60 seconds. And then we're going to put our top coat. Let me just pause that. Right, so that's those done. Now I'm going to show you how we're going to refine these. So remember, we've got top coat on all of them. And now I'm going to just make sure we've got no sort of bits on the sides, and we can refine our shape. And then what I like to do is I like to use a very thin buffer, and we're just going to buff over the entire nail very lightly, so the top coat is acting as a encapsulation for the color. Also now I can get it really smooth around the cuticle area, which is going to give it a much nicer look. So we have a look. And then I would just do that to all the nails. So we're going to just refine our shape. Take it underneath to make sure that your lower arch is straight. Then take your fine buffer and just go over the whole nail. Next one. And you would do this basically to all of them. So this is a really, really fine buffer. You don't need a very thick one. If you felt that you've gone thicker on certain areas, because you've still got, remember we had other product underneath. If you do happen to file, you're not going to be filing all the product away. So now we're just making sure our cuticle line is nice and straight. Our side walls. I'm looking down the barrel. Let's make sure our lower arch is in. You could use a white block as well. I have used a white block before. I prefer older files when doing this, because when I'm working on my own hands, I tend to overfile, and I'm sure we all do when we're working on our own hands. So older files are always better. to work with. Okay, I'm just going to do the same to this one, and then I'm just going to do a top coat, or you can do a design, or you can paint, whatever you feel. So I don't want to have them too bulky by painting as well on top. You could do thin layers, but I'm loving the nudes. I love this color. This was raspberry macaroon, the number 6 Builder Gel in a bottle. So I absolutely love these colors. My clients are loving them too. So now I'm just making sure. And I'll look down the barrel. Make sure your lower arch is in line. And then I'll show you. You just put a top coat on and we are done with one hand. I'll show you how I do some of the fingers on my non-dominant hand. But because we're just buffing, it is so easy to do your own hand. So the trick is to not create so much bulk, make it easy to do, and to use older files because you don't want to overfile. I'll just get my lower arch. And let's just get right there. So that hand is done, and then we just need color or top coats, and I'm going to show you my non-dominant hand. So I am just making sure the sides are nice and straight. Obviously, if you're going to take the length down, you would then have to do a lot more work because you'd have to file down the entire nail and redo the application. But for this fill, I'm not filing down the nail as yet. Maybe in the next fill. So now I'm just using the older file, very lightly buff. Making sure along the cuticle line. And I'm kind of pulling my skin away as I'm working. And then just using my own body weight to file them. And Murphy's Law is that when you've got far more work to do on your less dominant hand. It's always the case, for obvious reasons. I just felt the tip needed a little bit more. And we'll dust that one off. Let's have a look. I want to just make sure it be nice and flush. Right, that's that one done. So this is the quicker part. Just refining my shape. arch. Then our buffer. So I'm holding my finger like this, and pushing it against the file. I just found that this has worked for me doing my own nails using my less dominant hand. Well, I just want to give you a big shout out there. If you've been with me this long, I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the content that I do give. If you'd like to see other content, please just hit that subscription button, like and subscribe, and I will give you more content as we go along. So here I'm just finishing, trying to get it all even as possible. I mean, it was pretty even, but it's never even enough. And the trick is that when you're doing your own nails, you don't want to over file when you're using a color builder or any color sculpting gel, or you don't want to over file doing your own nails. And it's so easy to over file doing your own nails, guys. So whoops. Okay, I will finish these up and then I'm going to show you the finished product. Right, so now we are going to finish these nails off. So what I normally do is I would paint these four, cure the four and the thumb separately in the final. So we're just going to put the top coat on. So I'm going to finish doing the top coat on all my fingers, and then I'll come back to you and show you the finished result. Right, and we will be back. Right, so this is the finished look. Let me know what you think. Easy way of doing your own nails. And if you like this content, hit that subscription button, like and subscribe. And this is, I thought I'd put it against a, this is a, I just want to do a screenshot. This is the Builder Gel, Sweet Dreams, and Raspberry Macaroons. Well, I hope you liked this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.